Hi, this is another video, the previous video that I was supposed to post, but I did not. So here we go. YouTube script for King Fredrick being an evil man. Ooh, sounds fascinating. King Fredrick is an evil man because his fears of losing his daughter, which makes sense even after he chooses fear over his daughter. That's his words saying, I admit it's hard to separate being a father from a king, and his methods are unfair and harsh and you must understand doesn't mean it's the right choice. There is a choice. You choose to let those to be your reality. I mean, your own mistakes to learn that you're not to control that from your family. Sorry, that was a stutter. But let's continue. Friends and family, and affect Rapunzel mostly because she was already locked up in the tower because her mother Gothel was fearful of being old. But that's a problem with King Fredrick, but as much as worse, losing his daughter. But his daughter is so much more than he thinks. As her own safety, that's her problem. I mean, that's her problem. Why? It isn't his at all. That's not your parent. I'll explain that in a second. Because she's well known to be careful with her words before she left her father and shocked and disliked what she said. She said, and quote, "You are not the first person who lied to me and told me I wasn't ready for the real world." So this is so much worse than anybody could think. He also, in one episode, showed of his fear, it was their journal, and told the guards to watch her in the village and Crona to stalk her every time she went to another place. That's awful. I mean, that's not love, that's keeping her safe, and that's evil, not acceptable for a king or even a father to do that in the scene. He said the methods of fear being a father in the first place. He had to fear being a father. Why did he have to have a child of his own if the reality after his child was taken in the first place? But that leaves him with her. She was there as a baby and not taken away. The main problem with that during the films, King Fredrick being paranoid before the journal and fear of kidnapping, and himself picturing himself as a father of his child, whatever, and given the other thought of life, from birth to baby, kid, teen, and now. But before his thoughts came to fear and to paranoia, after his daughter was taken, imagine if he had a full life with her. But would that be the same or worse? I mean, it might get worse to have a full life with her and have the same or worse. I mean, it could get worse because what kind of life would Rapunzel be provided, and with King Fredrick still being in fear of losing her, even without the kidnapping, would it be different? There's the thing. The mother Gothel was manipulating Rapunzel, would be the same. But I mean, his father looked at her journal and sent the guards to stalk her in the village. Mother Gothel stalked her in the woods, so there's the same stalking, but worse. Who's the worst one? Mother Gothel or King Fredrick? Ask yourself a question. Or your friends. Let's continue. So, would it be the same? Who knows? Ask yourself the question. It would be King Fredrick, my opinion, because Mother Gothel was fear of her hair being cut and die of old age, while King Fredrick was complete opposite. He is losing his daughter. That's the worst imagination for any parent to want to lose. That's true. Any parent would not want to lose their child. Anyways, I'm getting off topic, sorry. Let's continue. technically she's an adult, so her business of being safe is her problem and not his. Mother Gothel, Mother Gothel, she wasn't an adult. She was turning into an adult. There's the difference. The problem is traumatic, intense, and out of control. She was kept in her room with guards in front of her room, in a metal fence over her window. The whole window. There it is. Window. Let's continue. And there was a difference. Her father was not right and wrong. That's wrong. I mean, her boyfriend, Eugene, even told him, how is what you're doing any different what was done to her for her first 18 years of life? And her father said, Eugene, I know. Eugene, son, I know this may be unfair, but I have no choice. Eugene said, what? You have a choice. You're the king. You cannot keep her up there. Then his father said, I'll do what I must to keep her safe from harm. Then Eugene said very quietly and said, so will I. And walked away. That shows his true colors as a father and a king. And he affirmed with his words and that's a hypocrite of his own words, saying, I admit it's hard to separate from a father from a king and choose to be a king over her father. So his true colors is a father from a king. So the whole wrong of him is the father from a king choosing fear effect as a father and a king to protect her from harm. When it's completely opposite, different thoughts is ahead of his daughter and is not safe, and I need to protect her now. In her private journal, he should have left it alone. That's her business, not all his. That is being in her head that when he was the one causing to be objective to the king and set her to be safe. And her mom, Ariana, the queen, Ariana, said, this isn't right. And the thinking wise, it would have been like anything normal. And same as nothing had happened or fear of nothing's going to happen. There was an episode where King Fredrick helped the guards to find the monster that a kid named Varian. That'll be in a different video. I'll explain that. Let's continue. He didn't know that Rapunzel and her boyfriend and others helped her to escape from her room. And the monster was getting close to Rapunzel, and she said, Eugene, look out! And look at what you know. The king, once again, fearful for his daughter and like she's in grave danger. And said, guards, find the princess and get her to safety now. And the guards got pretty hit hard and found out that Rapunzel was safe and captured Varian's monster. It was Varian's raccoon. I'll explain that later too. In another episode of Fantasies. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna call it. I know. I'm dumb. Don't say that. Let's continue. And finally he realized that she can handle himself. It took all that to finally realize how an awful man he was and not showing love or safety. It's quite different. In my opinion, another episode, he was so fearful and embraced a very tight hug, completely shut down Rapunzel's thoughts to herself. This is awful. In one episode in Old Corona, she was chased by some people in black and red suits and metal helmet. and it hid in tower. And they hid in Rapunzel's old tower. And they were trapped, and they jumped off the tower that completely shattered. And they found the people that were chasing them, and they found the guards that was trying to stop her friends from finding the truth. When the guards were in the crumbles of the tower, Rapunzel said, "Time for some answers." When the guards were about to grab their metal helmet, she pushed the helmet away and firmly asked, "Who are you working for, and who sent you?" They answered, "It was your father. He ordered us to stop you from finding the graphic and finding the truth." Rapunzel was shocked and stepped away and said, reading the graphic, and her friends were like, "Why is your father trying to hide this from you?" Rapunzel said, "I don't know, but I'm gonna find out." The next episode, she stormed in the castle, and the king was concerned, said Rapunzel had just heard what happened in the old corona, and Rapunzel interrupted and said, "You lied to me." And her father said, "I assure you I did it to protect you." And she's interrupted and said, "From what? Your own men? Can't you see people are in danger? And what you try and hide?" And he replied saying, "Sorry, sweetheart, you're just not ready for the real truth." And then Rapunzel said, as she walked away, and said, "Well, you're not the first person who lied to me and said I wasn't ready for the real world." She was comparing it to Mother Gothel at the moment. And the second last scene of Tangled after she was talking to her father, she said, "Let me get this straight. You went outside of the corona and touched a mysterious rock that your hair returned." And she replied, "Yes." He said, "Did you act alone?" She skipped that question and said, "Look, I know you're angry, but can't you see I'm okay? I'm more than okay." He replied and said to her, "Rapunzel, look, I need to sorry, a little lag. I'll figure it out. I need to tell you something. For the first 18 years, you were gone, and I was hoping some way, somehow, there was some mercy, that you would return to me, and I promised to never let that happen." And that night, part of me, the best part of me, died. And as you return, I am afraid to leave me no choice. But as tonight, I have to exercise a martial right as king to forbid you to leave the corona and without my consent. And this will be the last time we ever talk about magic of any kind. Is that understood? She was crying before she ran away, and she said, "There's so much more to me than you think." The king was a bad guy. In the first scene before Happily Ever After, Rapunzel and Eugene were on the horse being chased by the royal guards and the captain of the guards, and said, as a game. Like, what? But it was again King Fredrick ordering them to chase them, to keep them in the walls of Corona. And they said, Captain of Guards said, "Game's over, Your Highness. Welcome ceremony is about to begin." And that's also controlling him, spending her time outside princess duty. That's always someone or so many people watching her. That's not acceptable. That's her private time, and others, she needs her time to herself. And one of the scenes Happily Ever After, in the middle where King Frederick had a traumatic event, flashbacks at the moment her disappearance, and he said, "Teenager or not, I must prepare her to be queen one day. And it flashes back, echoing in him and crying of their child. And he said, "Guards, guards, my child, Rapunzel." He walked towards the doors and locked it and said, "I just want to protect her." That's a valid reason for his actions, but in other words, opposite. How is what he's doing for the 6 months to a year different from what happened years in the tower? Yes, there is a difference. It isn't his. Like, the difference between her years in the tower is not beyond okay, but like what the way he was saying it was not okay. This is 5 pages, and I'm very sorry, but I'm gonna skip around because I'm past my time limit. So let me know in the comments what else you want me to talk about for another video. Let's skip to how Mother Gothel was saying compared to King Fredrick, and what Mother Gothel said. "Enough with the lights, Rapunzel. You are not leaving this tower ever." As the king, he would say Rapunzel and then automatically change his way of talking. So underneath of all that, I would say King Fredrick is the worst manipulator than Mother Gothel, because Mother Gothel actually has fears of her losing her powers, while he lost his daughter and he could have let it go. I mean, it kind of hurts losing your daughter, but like, there are other ways to communicate with your fears, like talking to someone or writing it down, or not like constantly picking at someone's butt about it, and especially when she came back. So all his methods were unfair when they were harsh. Alright, that's all for tonight. Let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about, and I will search it up and write another YouTube script. Subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.